Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Previously, we managed to implicate Eggert Benedict as being there in that pawn shop as kind of the, associate, the secret partner of the Skulkin brothers. And when we presented his photo, well, none other but juror number 5 recognized him. And we can learn his true name and possibly get him summoned to the court, so everything's in chaos and the judge is calling orders, so let's carry on, shall we? Ordar! 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 Juror number 5, how on earth? I'm a communications officer, stop. As we can clearly see, the gentleman in the photograph is, stop, also a communications officer, stop. He works in my office, stop. Wow. Huh. Why would someone as well dressed as him... Well, he comes across as being one of the 1%, for lack of a better term. Why would he be in a communications office? Maybe he's the boss. A very talented operator, in fact, stop. Oh, never mind then, not the boss. He should be in the communication station now. Stop. Tapping away at the telegraph. Stop. This doesn't seem right somehow. I can't put my finger on why, but it doesn't feel right. Huh. I suppose we all imagined the accomplice would be some sort of hardened criminal. It's a bit unexpected to find out that he was a respectable job by day, whatever he gets up to at night. Yes, I suppose that's it. I suppose that's why I felt something was wrong. I don't know about that. If the gentleman is at London's communication station, we should be able to subpoena him within the hour. Lord Van Zeeks, if you please. Yes, my lord. Make the necessary arrangements with all haste. As your lordship bids. The court will recess for 1 hour. When the new witness arrives, we shall reconvene to hear the gentleman's testimony. Inspector Gregson. Yes, my lord. I should like to hear from you specifically about events at the pawnbrokery on the day in question. Come to my chambers during the recess. Yes, sir, my lord. Very well. Court is adjourned until 1:40 p.m. To be continued. Well... If only I hung on just a little bit longer last time. Oh well, that's how it is sometimes. Gina, how are you holding up? I'm starting to feel quite warmly towards her frequent cold shoulders now. Ginny! Are you alright? Why aren't you saying anything? What's the point, eh? Why go to all this trouble and fight so hard for the likes of me? What? Well, you saw it, that picture. What picture? You mean this? The photograph taken by Hurley's red-handed recorder. Well, I didn't think it would have captured a scene like this, that's for sure. It's hopeless. Anyone who sees that's gonna think I did it, ain't they? Well, I won't pretend it wasn't a bit of a shock when the prosecution first presented it to the court. Surely you've got to have your doubts about me now. You can't still think I'm innocent. Of course I can. Huh. Ginny, why don't you talk to us? Tell us what really happened that night. Huh? Ryuno's cleverly managed to piece together a lot of new information, but still, we'd really like to hear it from you. All right, then. Ooh, thank you, Ginny. It was after we'd had that dinner together at your place, right, Iris? Then we all had a chat up in your office, didn't we? Yes, I remember. After that, I just couldn't get to sleep. So I slipped out and went down the street to the 2-to-1, to Windibank's place. I had to know if Iris's story was there or not. The Hound of the Baskervilles. I don't know what it's about or nothing, but if you ask me, there's something in it that Sholmes don't like, something what he don't want people reading. So that's why he lied to Iris about sticking it in lug with Windibanks for safekeeping. At least that's what I thought at the time. So you broke into Windibanks. I just had to know if it was there or not. I mean, I had no idea all that was going to kick off, did I? I struck the lock and snuck inside. It was dark as you like in there. So I gave the oil lamp on the counter a bit of wick. And that's when... What do you think you're doing? Ugh! I nearly died, I did. Next thing I knew... I grabbed the gun off the counter and was waving it in the air like, I don't know what. Oh, you're the girl who was here this afternoon. I didn't think pickpockets went in for armed robbery. The mantle script. Have you got it here? Did Sholmes leave a load of Did Sholmes leave a load of papers with you? A story? I beg your pardon? The Hound of the something or other. If it's here, I want to see it. I'm sorry, young lady, but I'd sooner die than relinquish an article belonging to one of my customers. I don't want it. What would I do with it anyway? I just want to see if it's here, that's all. Oh, you want to see it, do you? I want to know if Sholmes really pawned it here or not. Please, just let me see it and I'll go. Oh, very well then. But for pity's sake, stop waving my gun around, would you? So then the old cove unlocked the storeroom door and we both went inside. And it was there, all right. The mantle script. Sholmes weren't lying after all. You did all that just to check for me, Ginny? Anyway, then there was a bit of a kick-up out in the main bit of the shop. The Skulkin brothers arriving on the scene, yes. What was that noise? Someone's breaking in. Dear me, is there some burglars convention here tonight that I don't know about? I think I forgot to shut the door behind me, sorry. I'd better go and take care of it. Could I possibly have my gun back? Oh, well, I'll come with you and... Now don't be foolish, young girl. You must stay right there. Don't leave this room under any circumstances. And with that, he took the gun out of me hands and walked back out into the shop. I hung back in the storeroom, like you said, straining my ears in the dark to hear what was going on. It sounded like they got into a bit of a scrap. I started to think I should help, see. So I was just about to go out the storeroom myself when... 2 shots. Simultaneous. I heard a couple of shots go off, too, I think, almost at the same time. And then there he was, right at me feet, lying face down on the floor. I was right next to the storeroom door, so I slammed it shut and locked it quick as you like. Because you thought whoever had shot Mr. Windibank might come for you. Yeah, so I went to grab the old cove's gun. I figured I'd put up a fight at least. But when I got a better look at him, I knew. Windibank was a goner. I felt funny in me head all of a sudden, kind of dizzy. And after that, I don't remember nothing. Now, did she faint of her own volition? Well, you know what I mean. Or did something else cause her to faint? That is a question worth wondering. That must be when you passed out, Gina. If I hadn't done what I'd done, the old cove might still be alive. Did you tell the police everything you just told us? Of course I did, but they didn't believe a word of it, did they? All they said was, if I kept telling lies, it would make things even worse for me. It'll be alright, Ginny. Don't worry. Just stay strong a little longer. Bruno's about to put the real culprit through the mill. That cove, what was there in the afternoon? That Egbert Benedict? I still remember how he looked at me, like I was nothing. He was there that night. We don't know his real name yet, but I'm convinced that he's involved somehow. Anyway, thank you for telling us what happened, Gina. I appreciate your honesty. You what? You can leave it all to Runo's capable hands now, Ginny. Mr. Naruhodo? Yes? How come you trust me? I don't get it. I mean, have you forgotten what happened here before? Come on, it was only 2 months ago. Me and Miss Gilded, we told you a whole pack of lies. And you got the bog trotter off with him, even though he was a killer. No, I could never forget that. Oh. I did what I thought was best at the time. But the pain of that error of judgment doesn't get any easier to bear. Still, don't forget that I also made you a promise. I told you that I'd be on your side to the bitter end, no matter what. Well, what if I'm lying? You could be working to get another killer off the hook for all you know. I was once in your position, Gina. I was the accused in a trial. You were? Before I left Japan, I was accused of murder. And strange as it might sound, the circumstances of the crime were pretty damning. I was sure that no one would believe it wasn't me who done it. Oh, Runo. But there was one person who stood up for me, who believed in me and was prepared to defend me. My best friend. Ryunosuke, no one believes in you more than I do. Leave this to me. All you need to do is put your faith in me, and I'll do the rest. I was so happy I cried. But even then, somewhere inside me I couldn't help thinking, surely he doesn't really believe in me, not completely. But I was wrong. As soon as my trial began, it was obvious that he had an absolute, unwavering belief in me. And in turn, I developed an absolute, unwavering belief in him. Since then, I came to realize, if you want someone to believe in you, you have to believe in the other person first. What are you saying? I promise you, Gina, that no matter what happens, I'll keep believing in you. So you don't need to worry. I won't let you down. even though I'm a diver and a no-good liar? You're not like McGilded. I know that.
Huh? That's right. You're our friend, Ginny. Iris.
We know you better than you think. And we've come to the conclusion that you're someone we can trust.
Yes.
That's really all we need to know.
Exactly.
Mr. Naruhodo, I... Sniffle, sniffle. Aww. Defendant Gina Lestrade and her legal representative. Court proceedings are about to resume. Please head to the courtroom immediately. That was the fastest hour ever. Yes, of course, thank you. That only took about 13 minutes. I'd been both a defendant and a defending lawyer in my time, so I knew only too well just how hard it was to put all your faith in another. And I also knew just how hard it was to bear the burden of another putting all their faith in you. This is it at last, the final chapter, the final battle. Really? Wish me luck, Susato-san. And I hope you're watching over me too, partner. Huh. I hereby call this court to order as we resume the trial of Miss Gina Lestrade. Lord Van Zeeks, have you successfully subpoenaed the witness? The subpoena was delivered to the communications station where the man works immediately, my lord. However, the heavy rain has delayed the arrival of his carriage, it would seem. I see. Then let us turn our attention to Inspector Gregson's precis of the case heard by the court this morning. The glaring omission of the third bullet in your report is a serious blunder, Inspector. Yes, I can only apologize, my lord. And although the defense's chemical analysis of the blood at the scene makes for a compelling argument, I cannot permit such untried methods to be used as evidence in my courtroom.
Huh, it's a big mistake to cross Hurley and me. A very big mistake.
My lord, the subpoenaed witness has just arrived in the building. Thank you, officer. Show him to the stand without delay. Mr. Eggert Benedict. I didn't expect to be crossing paths with him again so soon, and certainly not like this. Thank you for complying with the court's subpoena at such short notice, sir. But of course, my lord, as an upstanding member of London society, it is my pleasure to oblige. Now, kindly state your name and occupation for the record. Ashley Graydon, Communications Officer. Ashley Graydon? Huh. Ash Gray? What, like gray morality? Huh. I don't know what to make of his name. Maybe it's just another one of those that's like pulled from the, Sherlock Holmes stories. Like the Gyarados.
Mr. Graydon and I both work at London's Central Communications Station.
Now, perhaps somebody would kindly explain what all this is about. You were apprised of the situation by the court officer on your way here, I presume. Yes, I was. Something to do with a murder that took place at a pawnbroker's on Baker Street. and some nonsense about me having been there on the night in question. That is the accusation indeed. This really is beyond a joke, you know. Very well. Without further delay, the court will hear your testimony now, Mr. Graydon. You will respond to the accusation made against you under oath.
Gladly, my lord, gladly.
Naturally, I have occasion to make use of pawnbroking services from time to time. But are you seriously suggesting I colluded with these thugs to break into the place on the night of the murder? I have no intention of admitting to such an outrageous accusation, even if certain parties here present claim that my blood was found at the scene. Some Scaramouche detective's homebrewed tincture can hardly be taken as serious evidence. So, you deny the accusation completely, do you? I must say I am dismayed. For the highest court in the land to be swayed by this self-professed detective's toy. It was the will of the jury, and our great British justice system demands that the jury's will is upheld. Then it would seem we have the misfortune of a most inept assembly of jurors today. By golly! How long am I expected to be detained here? If, following the defense's cross-examination, your involvement in this matter has not been established, you will be free to leave immediately. Good. Then I shall be away in time for afternoon tea. Some small consolation at least. Let us not hold up Mr. Graydon any longer than necessary, counsel. Proceed with the cross-examination. So, we meet again, Mr. Eggert Benedict. Or is it Mr. Graydon? My apologies. You are... Ryunosuke Naruhodo, defense lawyer. We have met. If you say so, Ashley Graydon, enchanté. So. Ugh. I trust we can conclude this quickly. But I'm not holding your flashy hat while we do. Think he's a butler of some sort? He is wearing black. Naturally, I have occasion to make use of pawnbroking services from time to time.
Hold it!
Yes, we even met in the very pawnbrokery where the crime took place on the afternoon of the day in question. Though, of course, you introduced yourself by a different name at the time. It was Mr. Eggert Benedict, I believe. Tell me, what made you... The witness is here to testify about events that took place that night. He is under no obligation to answer such unrelated questions. You can't be serious. Thank you, because I certainly do not feel inclined to answer such an inappropriate question. So he's going to be evasive, is he? In an effort not to give anything away. This could be tricky. But are you seriously suggesting I colluded with these thugs to break into the place on the night of the murder?
Hold it!
Have you seen these two men before? This pair? No, I don't associate with criminals. Said by a man who introduced himself as Eggert Benedict. I'd like to know who I have to thank for this. Who made this outlandish accusation against me? The young lawyer there in the black. This is a farce. Whose idea was it to permit an outsider to work in a British court anyway? Well, needless to say, I have no intention of admitting to such an outrageous accusation.
Hold it!
Where were you at around 1 in the morning on the night in question, sir? That is past the hour at which I would normally retire. Certainly, I was not in the company of these rapscallions. You're able to prove that?
Objection!
Listen carefully, my learned Nipponese friend, for you appear to be under a gross misapprehension on this point. What do you mean? The witness maintains he was not at the scene of the crime. He has no obligation to prove his absence. If your accusation is that the witness was present at the scene, the obligation lies with you to prove your assertion. You will fulfill that obligation before putting any more unreasonable questions to the witness. A silent victory wiggle. Thanks. Even if certain parties here present claim that my blood was found at the scene.
Hold it!
Blood was found at the scene of the crime. There's no question of that. Mr. Sholmes' chemical analysis has positively identified the substance as such. But I am not the only human to have blood running through my veins, am I? How can you be sure that the blood is mine? It could equally be the blood of one of these two miscreants. Every individual's blood has a slightly different composition, it seems. Mr. Sholmes' chemical is able to differentiate. Spare me the science lesson. Who is this Sholmes character, anyway? Oh, I assumed all Londoners would know the name. He's a renowned detective. So, even you are unable to bring yourself to say great detective. A great detective, you say? Ugh. Now we're in the realm of fairy tales, are we? Oh? Huh. You have something to say?
Excuse me!
Do you have something to say about that, Mr. Skulkin? What? Me? No, the Mr. Skulkin next to you. Right, I've had to put it up here with this. How many times have I got to tell you? Yes, I know, you're not Big Bruv Sulky. Mr. Nash Skulkin. Huh? Corblimey! You what? Is it not the case that when Mr. Graydon just spoke, a thought went through your mind? Would you care to share that thought with the court? Huh? Me thoughts? I don't have none of them. It must have been in. You what? Mr. Nash Skulkin, answer the question, please. What went through your mind when Mr. Graydon just spoke? Nothing, honest gov, nothing. I was just thinking, if he waves his arm around like that much more, it'll open up the wound again, that's all. What wound? Well, he took the bullet, of course. It was only 2 days ago. It ain't gonna be healed up yet. Oh my god. So I was, well, you know, I was worrying for him and... Oh, hell's bells! Mr. Graydon, did you just hear that? Of all the places he could have possibly got hit. Oh, come on. What? Your comrade is worried about you, it seems. On account of your injured arm. My lord. Yes, Mr. Graydon? I have no idea what these two wretches are talking about. Certainly I shouldn't be expected to answer anything in relation to their mindless insinuations. We know that someone other than the victim was hit by a bullet at the scene of the crime 2 nights ago. And from the height of the bullet hole in the wall, that person was likely hit in the upper arm or thereabouts. Perhaps you'd allow a court official to examine your arm, sir? The left arm that you're currently clasping with your right hand, as if in pain. Come to think of it, didn't Manfred von Karma also have very light blue as part of his character design as well? I think I remember that, but way less than Graydon here. No, I refuse. You have shown no evidence whatsoever that links me to these common thieves. Accordingly, I am not obliged to permit any such invasion of my privacy. As I've already said, I'm completely uninvolved in all this. I've never had anything to do with the pawnbrokery where this fellow was killed whatsoever. I take offense at the insinuation that I was in any way involved. You claim to have had nothing whatsoever to do with Mr. Windibank's pawnbrokery? My lord, the defense would like that last statement to be added to Mr. Graydon's formal testimony. Very well, counsel. Continue with your testimony, Mr. Graydon. Well, we have a photograph of him in that shop. The bottom line is, I've never had anything to do with the pawnbroking establishment where the man was killed.
Hold it!
Never had anything to do with it? You forget that I was there, Mr. Graydon, on the very afternoon of the incident. Obviously, I am not a complete stranger to the pawnbrokers. I'm currently on the lookout for an armchair to furnish my study.
Objection!
No, you were there to redeem an article. I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, I'm glad we did this.
Excuse me!
Do you have something to add, Inspector? Come again, Sunshine? You were there too, in fact, weren't you, Inspector? That afternoon. Well, yes, I do remember meeting yourself and the pawnbrokers that afternoon. You, your young Japanese assistant, and the accused were all present, as I recall. And at that time, this witness, Mr. Graydon, was trying to acquire a particular article. Oh, well now. I'm afraid I don't remember too clearly. What? Okay. Ryunosuke and I said that at the same time. But you must! I'm not going to lie and pretend I remember something that I don't. What's going on here?
Greggsy showed us a picture before, didn't he? You know, from the cameras that Hurley installed in Windibank's?
Yes, of course. Indeed, and the gentleman pictured bears a striking resemblance to the witness, I must say. Exactly, which proves that Mr. Graydon was in the shop on the afternoon in question. At no point have I denied that fact. I merely entered the shop to peruse the articles on sale and have a word with the broker. Nothing more. This makes no sense. I understand why Mr. Graydon might be trying to cover his tracks. But why would Gregson be trying to avoid giving testimony about what happened? Huh. That's all he's going to say on the matter, is it?
What do you think, Runo?
I think he has no intention of telling us anything. He's well aware that the less he says, the less chance he has of giving himself away.
Huh. The complete opposite of Hurley, then. He seems to think that the more he says, the better.
Well, at least I managed to prise a little more information from these witnesses' lips. Well, thanks to the Skulkin brothers.
Yes, They were the key to it after all.
So he says he had nothing to do with Windibanks. Well, we know that's not true.
Perhaps now would be a good time to have a proper look through the court record.
Good idea. You never know what tiny scrap of information could become a valuable weapon. Alright. Let's see here. I think it's one of the tickets. Well, on the back of the photograph, really. Oh, this is new. Some Scaramouche detective's homebrewed tincture can hardly be taken as serious evidence. Never had anything to do with a pawnbroking establishment, so you never had any business dealings. So let's see. It's one of these two. Right, the small box. This is from when Beppo, the carriageman, ran off to deposit it with Windibank at McGilda's behest. And this is the gentleman's overcoat. Oh, no, it was the overcoat that McGilda sent Beppo to deposit. Right. Okay, there's gotta be something a bit more conclusive. Okay. I mean, the dialogue upon pressing directly pointed out this photo, but we need to prove that he had business dealings with them. Or, wrong photo. Alright, we don't actually have the photo. This is for McGilded. I mean, this disc has his blood on it, but he was so quick to counter it. And after all, proving that this is directly tied to him relies on the blood test, which the court won't recognize, so I don't think I can use this either. Okay. Is there any other line I could contradict? Okay, if there was a direct piece of evidence linking him to these thugs, then this would be way easier, so I don't think this is it. Maybe we can press this. I don't think we did that. Some Scaramouche detective's homebrewed tincture can hardly be taken as serious evidence.
Hold it!
Don't forget, sir, that Mr. Herlock Sholmes is the most famous detective in the world. And the most famous detective in the world tells the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Oh no. Can't think of how to answer that. I once saw the world's most famous swindler thrown into jail. He allegedly told the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but what turned out to be a pack of lies. Quite. Now, as you are no doubt aware, the Central Communications Station is the heart of this country's information network. My work there is of paramount importance, and you have kept me from it for long enough already. Are we gonna get him on being the one who sold the information? Oh no. Maybe he's the mole. Alright, screw it. You tried to redeem the coat.
Objection!
God damn it! That reveals a damning inconsistency, that last statement. Damning, you say? As I look at you, Counsel, I see your trembling hand, your pallid expression, and your perspiring brow.
Huh?
It seems to me that is the damning inconsistency here, with the misplaced confidence of your assertion.
He has a damning tongue.
You invited, sir. Well, this is the amended thing. Maybe I can... I mean, we pressed this and then we got Gregson, but...
Hold it!
Maybe we just continue. Never had anything to do with it. Because I was there, Mr. Graydon, on the very afternoon, obviously, blah blah blah. No, you were there to redeem an article. I have no idea what you're talking about. Sorry? You must be confusing me with somebody else. I wasn't there for any such purpose. But the redemption ticket...
That won't get you anywhere, Runo.
I wish I saw this earlier.
Iris, what do you mean? Mr. Winterbank never wrote the names of his customers on the redemption tickets. So you can't prove the ticket was his.
Oh, of course, she's right.
I'm afraid you're going to need to produce some irrefutable evidence here. Otherwise, he'll never admit to being there.
Irrefutable evidence? But the court will refute the disc because of the blood. Never had anything to do with the pawnbroking establishment where the man was killed. Maybe you could say, hey, check the tip of his finger for a wound? Ugh.
Objection!
What? But they went on so much that they wouldn't count the blood. What the hell? Have you ever seen this disc before, Mr. Graydon? Why? Is it supposed to mean something? This disc was, until the day of his murder, in pawn in Mr. Winterbank's shop. It was redeemed by the defendant, Miss Gina Lestrade, that afternoon. However, somebody mysteriously appeared to try to take it from her. And that somebody was you, of course. Wasn't it, Mr. Graydon? As I have reiterated numerous times now, you are mistaken. That was not me. I've never seen that disc before in my life. It may have escaped your notice, but there is a small smear of blood on the disc. Oh yes, resulting from an abrasion of the thumb, perhaps. That's right. The surface of the disc is covered in hundreds of tiny metal bumps. In the skirmish to acquire the disc, the thumb of the person who tried to take it suffered minor lacerations. So, while the disc bears the remnants of that skirmish in the form of the smear of blood, the thumb of the person in question must bear the remnants also, in the form of a scratch. Good gracious, indeed it must. Mr. Graydon, you refused to allow a court officer to examine your arm before. Are you now going to refuse to allow us to examine your thumb? Because I have no doubt that it bears a small scratch inconsistent with the smear of blood on this disc. Consistent, I say, with the smear of blood on this disc. Well, well. It would seem I underestimated you. What is the meaning of this? So you admit it now. You admit you had a scratch on your thumb from when you attempted to take the disc from the defendant. Ordar, Ordar. Well, Mr. Graydon?
It would appear there has been something of a misunderstanding here. I did not attempt to take the disc, as you put it. No, quite the reverse. What are you trying to say? It's really quite simple, you see. The disc was mine from the outset. Is there some crime in taking an item that you own out of pawn? What? It would seem, Mr. Graydon, that in this piece of evidence my learned friend has established a link between yourself and the incident. Accordingly, you will tell the court everything you know about this disc now. As you wish, though I'm quite sure it has nothing whatsoever to do with the pawnbroker's murder. There's a note on the disc saying, "For McGilded," but the item belongs to me. Oh, well, okay. The redemption ticket was stolen from me by the accused, that filthy gutterling, on the day in question. I proceeded at once to the shop in order to explain my situation and redeem my article. In the end, of course, the disc was taken by the police. In other words, I had absolutely no reason to break into the shop later that same night.
Did I hear you correctly, sir? McGilded, you say, the famous London philanthropist? Who perished in this very courtroom 2 months ago after being acquitted of a distinctly messy murder.
Yes, my lord, the one and the same.
Good lord, Mr. Graydon, are you saying that Mr. McGilded and yourself were acquainted?
Yes, that's correct.
Ordar? Well, I certainly didn't expect to hear that name uttered here in my courtroom again.
According to what Gina told us, this disc was placed in pawn on that fateful night 2 months ago. McGilded himself gave instructions to deposit it at Windibank's. It's funny that Mr. Graydon here is claiming the disc belongs to him then, isn't it? In all likelihood, he's lying. So he appeared that afternoon at Windibank's in order to get his hands on McGilded's disc for some reason.
Counsel, you will commence your cross-examination, please.
I think we will do that next time. Yeah, I'm calling it a bit early, but hey, the last video, the one that came right before this, it was about 10 minutes long, and well, hey, this one's 10 minutes short, so I call it even. So yeah, that lovely conversation between Ryunosuke and Gina. Absolutely the most anime scene in the whole franchise thus far. Oh boy. Believe in yourself, believe in me who believes in you, etc. Yeah, a bit heavy-handed, but screw it. I enjoy earnesty. Like, man, maybe it's just because I'm growing older, but I've become sick of irony. Nothing in media can really be sincere anymore without being called cringe. Or, well, too anime. Everything has to have a layer of irony and self-awareness. But honestly, sometimes things can just be cool, you know? Things can just be allowed to be as they are, just wear their hearts on their sleeves. I struggle to think of any actual examples, but I have a good example. Take the very recently released Castlevania anime. There's a great scene
where a character, I won't name names, no spoilers, minimal spoilers here. There's a great scene that begins so strong of a character nearly facing death, but at the last minute getting a great huge anime power-up that was built up to, and he takes out some dudes, some enemies in real grand fashion. It's just a huge spectacle. And as he's approaching the last enemy, who's now cowering in fear, the protagonist starts to begin to say an epic speech. But then halfway through it, he pauses and says, I was about to say something biting and witty, but fuck it. And then he kills the dude. It's like, dude, come on. Just completely evaporated all wind out of the sails of the scene. Like, oh, it's just awful. But yeah, my point is, sincerity is cool. I love it. I want more sincerity in media. The power of friendship is peak fiction. I'll say it. Power of friendship is freaking cool. It's always been cool. Everyone does it a lot. I'm sure it can get a bit stale, but it's cool. It's not inherently bad. It's not something that writers should seek to actively avoid doing. Believe in your friends, damn it. It's cool to do that. Alright, enough talking in circles there. So Ashley Graydon. I 100% believe that, well, come on, dude. He works in the communication station. He's the mole. I mean, unless they say that juror number 5 is the mole, but no. This man killed Windabank, and he's the mole who leaked precious sensitive info across the world. Come on, it has to be the thing, right? Chekhov's gun. That's the rule of writing in media. If you show or describe a gun mantled over the fireplace, it has to be fired later. And, well, this case began with all this talk of international secrets being leaked. Of course it's gonna get resolved. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that, I guess. But speaking of things being resolved, is this really the final battle? Like, what about Mael Stronheart? What about this bigger conspiracy that with the music disc and the Gilded and all that and Susato? What? I mean, I think there was at one point during this series where I speculated that maybe it could possibly be that these two great Ace Attorney games are back-to-back stories. Like it's a two-parter. And this game is going to end on some sort of cliffhanger or some message about a big unresolved thing, and then the second game will continue the same plot thread. That could be the case. Or maybe I'm just... Oh my god. Boy, Castlevania's really on my mind, isn't it? I keep calling Mael Stronheart's office a Castlevania boss room with the wall chicken and candelabras and everything. Then here I start talking about Castlevania with sincerity and all that, and how it was afraid to be sincere. I can't even remember the last time I played a Castlevania game. They're good games, though. I like Portrait of Ruin. On the DS, that was a good one. And Symphony of the Night, of course. And hell, I even like Lords of the Shadow. The first one, never played the second. I have run out of things to say, so I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Thank you for watching. Hopefully, I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care.